welcome to Four Brown Girls. My name is Bongega Masango and I'm joined by my three fellow brown girls, Tata Rampai, Notolo Mafu, and Sumea Kasa. Today's topic is black tax. Now, for those of you who don't know what black tax is, it's the idea that when you start working or get some type of financial security, you then owe your family gifts maybe or to help out at home. At times it can go from you're helping out with groceries to you actually building a full-on house for them. Now, it's called black tax because it's usually attributed to families of color. So ladies, what do you think about black tax? Do you think it's good? Where do we stop? How much of it do you implement in your life?
Well, I think you have to look at where people are coming from, their backgrounds. You know, some people have poor backgrounds and they need to plow back into that. But in general, it's really just something that I see as young kids being exploited, and you know, people have this sense of entitlement over your hard-earned money, and I feel like that's where the problem comes in, where a person feels entitled and like you owe them. Yeah.
But I think, like, with a part of that, like, I completely hear what you're saying, and we are young people working, but I find that you have to remember that, like, people are coming from families that, like, wait, you could be the only hope. You you could be that only person who can financially, like, contribute to that. Yes, it gets to a point where, like, your aunt, Umagazibani, expects, like, a bit too much, and you're, like, feeding into people's bad habits. Like, you know, people are spending your money on drinking and stuff like that, but those are, like, extreme cases, which you have to admire that we have that kind of set up in our families and in our culture. Whether, you know, people take it too far, that's another thing. But I think it really is a beautiful thing that we have that you don't find everywhere else.
Yeah, I think there's just many sides to this whole black tax phenomenon, because on one side you get people who just help out basically, and it isn't a matter of, oh, things are so bad at home that I have to help out, but it's just a matter of, okay, we've taken care of you, but let's just get a little responsibility out of you. So you can plan your life in relation to the people around you and the people who have been there for you throughout your life. Then you get people who come from, like, abject poverty, and they kind of don't have a choice in the matter. They have to, like, take care of all 14 kids if they're 14 or 1, whatever, you know what I mean? But then you get the weird part of the spectrum where people don't actually need the help. It's not even about responsibility, but it, like you were saying, building a full-on house. Like, you just got out of school. You cannot afford to build someone a full-on house. It's not going to happen.
I understand the whole helping out at home thing, especially if you come from a family that's very poverty-stricken. Is that how you say it? Okay, and you're the only hope. But then, where does it end? Because at times you'll find that you come from a poor family. You and your siblings all had the same type of opportunities, and you took them, and you made it out. But they're left behind. Do you then go back and help them out, even though they chose not to take the opportunities? Where do you stop?
Yeah, like, I've heard of people who have, like, many older siblings, and they're, like, literally the last child born out of that marriage, and they have to take care of, like, siblings who are 40 years old and, like, really old people, and you're 22, you're looking after a grown-ass man and his family. He's having kids, like, there's no tomorrow, and that's your responsibility. I think it's just crazy then.
Absolutely, but the thing is, it comes down to the family unit. Like, do you speak to someone and be like, okay, actually, I can't deal with this. Like, you've been here, you've been working, and you've chosen not to do something. Like, we're also working against, like, stats that are really, like, hectic in South Africa. Like, unemployment is a real thing. You could be 22 and get a job, but a 40-year-old has been sitting at the house looking for something. So, I mean, I feel like we can't look at it in a way that it's just like, but you didn't try. If I don't have access to money, what am I meant to do? And it's a unique situation, again, in South Africa, where you can have a 40-year-old who's still at home. You know, and those are things that we just can't even ignore. But I'm not encouraging it. I find it strenuous myself. Like, on the 25th, I have hernias. Like, I'm nervous about the fact that debit orders will come out, but also I need to be, like, available for electricity, for this and that. And if I don't do it, you know, I'm unappreciative for the fact that, Nokolo, we put you through school or whatever, but you need to understand that I'm trying to build. And I can't save, you know. Those are the issues also.
And also because I'm just looking through social media, and a lot of the uncertainty comes where people are like, I have my immediate family, like my mom, my dad, my, you know, immediate siblings, and then there's cousins, tatumkulu, whatever, like long lost cousins and whatever, and we actually have Lish Unleashed, who says, black tax, I don't mind, for my parents that is, but cousins can go choke on something.
But you know, the thing is with black families is that we all grow up together.
Yeah.
So you can't say, oh no, I'm just gonna take care of my immediate family. But at the end of the day, a lot of the times you grow up all in the same house. You all live and so are you gonna then forget about your cousins then, because they were there when you were struggling as well, and now they're struggling and they need help? Do you intervene? Or do you not?
I feel like, don't you think it's like about allowing that growth to happen? You know, like BK, I hear you. You're saying like, we started from the bottom and now you're here. But how is it that we can all progress if you won't let those like small steps before the big time? Because we all want to make the big time. How can you not let that happen? You're hindering my ability to make sure that that happens like progressively. But if you got yourself in debt, you're not going anywhere. You know, debt is gonna make it so ridiculous for you to get to where you want to be. So it holds back the whole system in the long run. That's what I think. Like, it's counterproductive at some stages. You know.
And I also think like you bring that up of it also serves as it can be a form of enabling someone, where someone is sitting at home, they're not doing anything, they're expecting you to come and help with groceries. That enables them to keep chilling there and be like, BK's got this handled, you know? Because I'm looking at the footballer Adebayor, and he had like this really, really sad, you know, couple of posts on his Facebook where he was literally explaining how he's tried to help his family come out of poverty, and how he used to send his brothers money and whatever, and whenever he didn't send them money, they would threaten him, hold him at knife point and stuff like that. So it's also now where you get to a point where, okay, I'm helping you so that you can also help yourself, but then someone will look at it and be like, you owe us, Vele. You have to pay us, and then they chill and be like, this person's got it handled, my life is sorted. So I think that there's like the very fine line where it's like, where do I stop? Where it's like, okay, now I'm just funding your lifestyle.
And I imagine it must be so difficult when you have to have that sort of logical discussion with the people involved. Like, okay, I can do this much because that's reasonable, but you guys also need to, you know, try. Like, don't just sit around. Don't just like have babies and expect me to take care of everything. You know, just because I managed to get a job. Like, yes, we all grew up together, but I managed to get out of it. We had the same opportunities. We could work together to like bring this family up.
But then my thing is, when is too much too much? When is it enough? Do you only help with groceries? Do you only help with electricity? Do you take the kids through school? What is too much?
I don't know. That's the thing. I feel like personally it gets down to what your pay slip looks like. You know, like it's unfortunate also that, I mean, I've heard of situations where families are genuinely like, pass your pay slip here, we need to see where your money is going, which is a violation. If I, like, in my personal capacity, I wouldn't be willing to do something like that. But if you look at your salary, there must be parts of it where you're like, listen guys, this is how much I'm willing to part with. And with that, you guys can use it whatever way. I find that works the best way, in that you're willing to give a portion of it. Once it's been like, please pay the installment for this, please do that. I mean, paying off a couch. Are you serious right now? Like, we were all sitting here, and that's like, we were all sitting here, you know, and all of a sudden now it's fallen onto me because I happen to like leave at 9 a.m. in the morning. So I think it really is about navigating it with your family and the space. And I'm not being insensitive and not making light of it, but there needs to be a meeting of halfway. But we also don't have families where we can openly talk about money.
Yeah, that is money is a very sensitive issue. And to back up what you're saying, there's this tweet from Tembingai who says, I have white friends who will inherit companies as soon as they graduate, while my first paycheck will be split between my family. And I think that really speaks a lot to like the progression of black economic freedom and black empowerment, whereas a black person, you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm going to start working, build myself, and then you actually can't now because you have to look back. And I think black tax, in a way, it's a big contributor to black people progressing very slowly in terms of acquiring wealth, like white kids. Because from my experience, what I've seen is, white kids graduate and parents are like, well done, child, you've done so well, here's a car, go start the world. And then as a black child, it's like, okay, now you graduated, time to pay back the money. So I think that is a big factor.
But let's look into that. Why is it so exclusive to black families? Why is it that as a black family you can't raise your child, say your child does do well, then you say, thank you my child, I'm so proud of you, go out into the world? Why must your child, even if you guys do have money, still have to look back and be like, oh, I have to help such and such, oh, I have to help such and such? Because honestly, not all white people are rich, not all white people have money, but you find most of the time they don't have to look back and be like, oh, my aunt such and such needs this, 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 that. But as a black person, you almost always have to do that. Why?
I think though it's a systemic issue. Like, we can't take away from the fact that, you know, we, like, as the majority, we don't have money, and like we grow up in a way where it's like you hold each other's hand, like no matter what it is, if there's like a celebration, we're all there. If there's a funeral, we're all there. And that economic progression brings everyone in it. Like, it's just the way that we've grown up, and I feel like in other like instances it might not be such a priority, and I feel like because it's embedded in the way we are, like whether you're Xhosa, Ndebele, whatever, it comes down to we started from the bottom, now we're all here, and whether we cry together, we laugh together, it's just the way we are. So it's hard and it's problematic, but it's just I just think it's something that's ingrained in the way we are.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a matter of we cook together, we'll eat together. Like that's just how it goes.
Yeah. I have that like same relationship with my older sister. I mean, she's the best older sister in the planet. But I mean, she's like 7 years older than me. But she's the kind of person where she will call me and be like, "Yo, I've got 150. Are you okay? Should I send you 75 rand? Let's split it up." You know, she would rather go hungry than see me go hungry. And it's not really her responsibility per se, but because of like. Also because of our upbringing. I mean, I didn't grow up in a white family or anything, so I don't know like the schematics of that. But in a black family, it's like, this is your sister, this is the person, you guys are supposed to take care of each other. You're not supposed to go to bed fed while your sister's hungry or whatever. So I think that's also one of those things. It's also, I think it's to consolidate it is more of like an ethical anchor to say you cannot progress and see other people struggling, and they keep just being like, oh, well, I made my way. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, now we are sort of part of the new generation where we got more opportunities than our parents. Now, as part of that generation, do you think that you will raise your kids to look back and want to help the family, or will you raise them with this new modern idea that when you're out of the house, your money is yours?
Hectic.
I'm working hard so that I'm working hard so that my kid doesn't have to pay black tax. This is why I'm working. And someone actually just reiterated what I'm just saying now, and they're like, it's Chizama says, and they say, let me get up and go to work. I don't want my children worrying about black tax or whatever you call it. I want them to travel and just live. I want my kids to also just be like, you know, hopping on a plane to Paris because mama worked hard, you know, but I don't want to spoil them. But I don't want to pass it on to them as an obligation. I would rather they see it as, you know what, my parents have done so well for me or have helped me to be there, and a small token of appreciation doesn't have to be, you know, a car or whatever. It could literally just be like, yo mom, you did a great job, thank you.
I don't know. I think that there's definitely like a lot of positive factors to take out from it, and for that reason I might be like, hey, look, because I mean, it teaches you responsibility, it teaches you how to share. It's entrenched in like very deep, beautiful foundation.
I think it's hard. It's hard at the moment to eliminate it. I think even if, you know, they will do well, because things, black excellence, we're gonna do well. But I'm just saying is that I would tell my kids about the way that I started out. And probably if there's someone in the family who's struggling, I'll be like, be aware of how the system works. I don't want them to have to worry about that. I don't want it to have to be a thing, but they will know where it comes from and why we speak so much of it. Because I think it will build a lot of us as working people. So.
Another way we could actually use it is tell your kid to pay back black tax, right? Save that money. Especially if you have like a reckless spending kid. Save that money, and then like on a rough day where they end up jobless, whatever, or like maybe not even on a rough day, like their 30th birthday or something, be like, here, this is all the black tax you paid me. Look what you made.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Kind of like SARS giving you back your money, which
basically.
But you know, we can wish.
But I think it's kind of tricky to raise your child in the way that Tato was saying, where you work hard so that they don't have to pay black tax to the family, because in as much as your kids and maybe you and your husband or whoever don't have to get money from your kids, you have family members who do. And then when you have family gatherings and your kids walking around in Nike shoes and then others not so much, it gets a bit awkward. So I think in as much as you want to raise your child like that, it might not really work out because of just regular pressure that they'll be seeing. So just to close off, what are your last thoughts of black tax?
It's not entirely evil. It's not. I walked in here thinking, black tax, man, we're being ripped off. Parents must understand, you know. But I had a conversation with someone, and they were like, you know, it mostly has to do with the economic, you know, empowerment of the black people. And the reason why you find that, Guti, you have to go back home and build your grandmother house is because when you were growing up, you had to go back to your grandmother's house. You get what I'm saying? When your kids grow up, you want them to go to your grandmother's house, and you don't want them to go to like a crappy house. You know, the white kids, they don't need to do that because their grandparents have the money. You know, their grandparents, you know, after the kids are all out, they buy beach houses, and you know, the kids go and have fun. So it's also just, it's where we need to start. It might be that we need to start with the black tax for us to get to where it's not necessary anymore, but we need to get the ball rolling.
I think, like, to iterate, not to speak too much, I think there's similar concepts that, you know, I think it's got a good foundation and a really good values behind it, but I just think it's about communication. Talk about what you can do and what you can't do, and in that you can build a better like relationship. Money doesn't have to be such a taboo thing where we're ranting on Twitter but you're smiling at home. So those are the things we need to negotiate. And I think as time passes and people are getting in better jobs, I mean, maybe it'll be less of a thing, but I think progress.
Yeah, I think black tax, do it, be reasonable, and prosper. That's it.
What I think about black tax is that it depends on the type of family unit that you come from. If you have a family that needs the help, then of course go back and help, but don't be the crutch and don't be the person that they all rely on. So black tax seems like a very complex idea. Everyone has different opinions, everyone has different views, but at the end of the day, black tax is still a thing. Thank you so much for joining 4 Brown Girls.